Well, it's time once again to catch up with Gavin Martin from Cornerstone Wealth. He's our finance expert who joins us regularly on a Wednesday. Gavin, welcome back.
G'day, Matt. Great to be with you.
Now, Gavin, over the last few weeks, we've discussed a variety of different topics, and one of the things that quite often we do is take a look, in a general way, at some simple financial tips. And it's got to be difficult, though, when we look at the diversity of Australia, and especially looking at how much easier it is to access services like financial advice when you live in a major regional area or even a metropolitan area compared to the rural and remote parts of the country. And an interesting story I come across recently talked about how financial counsellors serving the Northern Territory say there's actually been a steady increase in the number of calls for help because it's actually really hard to get that quality financial advice. So I thought we'd talk about that today. Why is it so important, especially in remote Australia, to get that quality financial advice, and how do you do it?
Yeah, great question, Matt. And regardless of where you are, if you need help, it's great to do that or inquire about it, pursue it as early as possible, particularly if it's on the difficult end in that you're struggling. And I think the nature of the article that you're referring to is really about people, primary producers, fishers, small rural businesses, all facing difficult periods due to whether it's weather or live cattle exports being suspended. They're going through difficult periods, and if you are in that scenario, whether you're a rural business or whether you're an individual or a family, it's important to seek help earlier on in order to get to a resolution more quickly. The later you leave it, the bigger the problem can be.
Yeah, of course, there's always multiple factors when it comes to finance, isn't there? I mean, one part of this story is talking about the flow-on effect from the live cattle bans that weren't that long ago, and how even people who aren't involved in the cattle industry are feeling the pinch right now. So they're looking at their finances and saying, well, what do we do and how do we do it? And I guess that's where you come in, isn't it? As a professional financial advisor, you're constantly looking at ways that you can help your clients get the best out of their finances.
Yes, and it's interesting, you alluded to at the start about it is becoming more accessible to be able to get advice and assistance remotely. I probably do more than 50% of my meetings and consultations via the phone and computer. So talking over the phone and sharing what's on my screen to explain concepts, etc. And I've had consultations with people in remote Aboriginal communities via satellite using this method. So the beauty about technology is that we are, and the services are more accessible. It's important to try and focus on the right type of service that you do need. And for rural businesses, often there's a unique skill set that people have, particular financial counsellors have around the assistance that is available from government. But it is a lot more accessible to get advice even when you are in a remote location.
Now, speaking of those remote locations, it's all well and good to just seek out the nearest financial advisor, but one of the things that I've always thought is, important, is to make sure that the person you're getting any sort of advice from, whether it be financial or other advice, actually understands your situation. Because it's all well and good to, do a remote hookup with a financial advisor who lives in a metropolitan area, but are they necessarily going to understand the intricacies of living in rural and remote Australia?
Yeah, that's important, and that's where referrals really do help, particularly if you've got unique circumstances. I know a lot of farmers particularly in the western region of Victoria, they have the issue of succession planning and passing the farm on to the next generation or selling. But there's always these water rights that often have more value than the land. So there's these intricacies about, do you sell the land and retain the water rights? Do you sell the land? There's all those intricacies that need to be addressed, and they're probably unique to different regions like the Northern Territory or rural South Australia. And if you know somebody or have somebody that can understand those things and knows how to deal with them, it is of great value. And I guess the referral sources, other people that have had assistance, is a great starting point.
When you look at medicine, for example, Gavin, there are GPs, there are specialists, and then there are rural GPs. So you've got a variety of different services that are suited to particular areas. Law enforcement's the same. You've got your beat cops who are perfect for the city. Then you've got your country coppers who know and understand those rural areas. Is it the same in the financial sector? Is it the same that You've got financial advisors or financial planners that are best working with big business. And then you've got those that are best to work with, for example, primary producers.
Yeah, people do, as you say, like other vocations in financial services, financial advice, they do develop specialisations. And the challenge, I guess, for the rural person is matching the person that's got the skill set to deal with their particular issues, but also has an understanding of the broader financial planning and superannuation and all those other issues as well. Traditionally, the rural person's main contact would have been the bank, so the bank manager, and they would have worked with them very closely. But as we have moved and become less personal in the banking systems, and you don't necessarily have that bank manager that you know from the community, it's becoming a little bit more detached, and therefore you might be looking a little bit broader than your own local community to find that assistance that you require.
Now, of course, there's always opportunity, as you said before, about the idea of referrals. Is there an organisation, like, for example, do you belong to a peak body that would be able to be a one-stop shop? Say, okay, a primary producer rings a hotline and says, well, look, I'm looking for a financial advisor. This is the sort of skill set I'm looking for. Can you give me a list of names that would be working in my area?
Yeah, exactly. There's the Financial Planning Association, which is a good start for financial advice. They're the peak body in terms of financial advisors. There's also another secondary group called the Association of Financial Advisors. You can look up both their websites, so the Financial Planning Association and the Association of Financial Advisors, and they have referrals to professionals in your local area. So you can put in your postcode or you can put in your area, and they'll come up with a list of members who you can seek out.
Well, it's good to know that there are those experts around. As you said, Gavin, it's always good to have your specialisations, and it's interesting to know that financial advice is still available in rural and remote Australia, isn't it? Especially with the increase in technology.
Yes, definitely. Can't communicate enough that advice or an assistance is just a phone call away or a Skype call away. And I encourage people, if they do need assistance, whether that be on the more challenging end of the spectrum, in that they have problems with debt and cash flow, or whether that's wanting to know how best to invest their resources, well worth pursuing the advice.
Gavin Martin from Cornerstone Wealth, our regular finance expert here on 2020, just giving us some general advice on how you can get the perfect financial advice for your situation. Gavin, we'll talk to you again very soon.
Thank you, Matt. Great to be with you.